Go with Silvio.
Silvio was the worst consigliere Tony Soprano could have picked. Of all the choices Tony Soprano made as boss,
Oh, look, I've been a consigliere for a lot of years.
appointing Silvio Dante as consigliere was perhaps the most sentimental, certainly not the most strategic. Loyalty, unquestionable.
See now, Doc Santora uses one of my guys as a diversion. Sil could have got hurt.
Silvio would take a bullet for Tony, and in the end, he very nearly did. But loyalty alone does not a consigliere make. The role requires detachment, strategic vision, and, ideally, clean hands. Silvio, unfortunately, was too deeply entrenched in the daily grime of the family's business to serve as an impartial advisor.
You pay what you owe, that shaved twat of yours belongs to me.
He wasn't a consigliere. He was Tony's enforcer in a pompadour.
Go with Silvio.
Sil would have been better suited as underboss, the executor, not the counselor. Let him run the Bing, shake down a few degenerate gamblers, and bury problems in the Pine Barrens. But advising the boss, that requires someone with a cooler head and a broader perspective. Someone less, well, Silvio. The alternatives? Slim pickings, granted.
Trying to concentrate here.
Paulie was a gossiping lunatic.
Bear in mind, this is a kid who just bought himself a $60,000 Lexus.
Christopher was a liability wrapped in a tracksuit. Bobby was endearing, sure, but barely competent beyond chauffeuring and heating up Ziti. But there was one figure who loomed large in strategic capability, Uncle Junior. Yes, Junior had an ego the size of North Jersey and a brain slowly turning to oatmeal, but in his prime, a tactician, a thinker.
Him and those big fish lips of his. Look at this. The fifth question, and the poor prick used all his lifelines.
Watch the Wait, with him and Johnny Sack on the couch discussing Ralphie over who wants to be a millionaire. Two mafiosi with enough grey matter to run circles around most of the crew. Junior could have made an exceptional consigliere if his pride hadn't required the illusion of power. He wanted the throne, not the ear of the king. And neither he nor Tony could stomach the indignity of reporting to the other. Then there's the ever-controversial idea. Hesh, a sharp mind, a rich history with the family, and no shortage of business savvy. But here's the rub. He wasn't Italian, not even a little bit. The mafia may bend rules, but it doesn't break that one. You must be Italian to be made, and you must be made to be consigliere. End of discussion. Hesh's role was that of a valued associate, not a formal advisor. Think Dickie Moltisanti's father with a record label. And while the romanticized vision of Tom Hagen in The Godfather may inspire dreams of ethnic inclusivity at the highest ranks, it's worth remembering that even in Puzo's world, Tom's appointment was considered suspect. He was the Corleone family's lawyer, never a made man, and certainly never fully respected in the position. The real mob laughed at that fantasy. The Irish gang they called the Corleones. Michael ultimately demoted Tom because in wartime, heritage matters more than heart.
You old fucking Jew. No wonder my old man kept you around so long.
Back to Hesh. He may have been trusted, but he was also a master manipulator. He knew exactly how to play Tony. Every favor came with a guilt trip. Every debt framed as an injustice. Tony protected Hesh for years, and what did he get in return? A financial squabble over a $300,000 loan, complete with subtle emotional blackmail. Hesh earned like a king under Tony's watch and kicked up next to nothing. And yet, he had the gall to complain. Brilliant in business, perhaps, but consigliere material? Absolutely not. Let's also dispel the nonsense that Sil was perfect, because he didn't give Tony bad advice. The issue wasn't his advice, it was that Tony never listened.
Don't say it like that. Forget that Tony Baldetta's my cousin. I give him up, we can give the whole fucking thing up.
Sil warned against pushing New York over Tony B. Tony ignored it, just as he ignored Melfi's insights. Tony Soprano wasn't looking for wisdom. He was looking for reflection, someone to mirror his decisions, not question them. Tony needed someone who could tell him what he didn't want to hear, someone with enough emotional detachment to survive Tony's rages, enough clout to stand firm, and enough intelligence to navigate the geopolitical minefield of organized crime. Sil wasn't that man. He was the most loyal man. And that's the tragedy. So who should have been consigliere? Maybe nobody.
Historically, Carmine always said the Sopranos are nothing more than a glorified crew.
Maybe the daimyo family was always just a glorified crew, a collection of half-cocked soldiers and aging street hoods pretending to be a serious criminal empire. Maybe no one in Tony's orbit had the full package: temperament, respect, strategic depth, and eligibility. But let's be clear. The idea of replacing Sil with Hesh is fantasy. A Jewish consigliere in an Italian organization. That happens right after they let Noel become a made man and throw the next sit-down at a Reform synagogue. At the end of the day, Tony chose Sil because he was safe, predictable, silent. And in the world of La Cosa Nostra, that might just be the only qualification that really matters. Silvio wasn't consigliere material. He was a mirror in a pompadour. If you see it too, hit like. I'm Matthew, and this is Sopranos Breakdown, where we don't romanticize the mob, we autopsy it.